Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
I'm doing good myself. What about you?
I'm doing fantastic today, Caden. We have a very special episode planned, diving into the MLB playoffs, Caden, and I think you have a lot to tell me and the fans at home about what we can expect coming up.
As you're watching this, the Wild Card series starts this weekend. MLB playoffs are finally set. So that opening series, which we'll have, especially today as you're watching this, probably one of the best pitching matchups we'll see all playoffs. So you get Tariq Skubal of the Tigers, who are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2014.
It's been a long time, Caden.
It's been a decade for them. They went on a miraculous in their last 44 games. They went 31-13 to climb back up from the depths and be able to make that wild card spot. They, though, have to take on the Astros, who have made 7 straight ALCSs, have been probably the most dominant MLB team of that last 7 years. So it's going to be a tough match. But tomorrow we get Tariq Skubal, who's going to win the AL Cy Young. He won the pitching triple crown of the AL. Just absolutely dominant. We finally got a full, healthy season out of him, and he's amazing. And then on the Astros side, we got Framber Valdez, who you guys know, just especially in the playoffs, he comes and he shoves every day in, day out. This is obviously, since it's wild card, it's a best of 3 series. So you're in a really tight spot here. Like, your Tigers have Skubal. Tomorrow's their best chance to win this game, especially with him on the mound. After that, though, the Astros, they still have Verlander. I know he hasn't looked good this year, but it's still Justin Verlander, and he's dominated his whole time in the playoffs. Like, the Astros are a much more well-rounded team. I love the Tigers. I got the Tigers hat on here. I love Tariq Skubal. It was fun to watch them do what they did this year. But I think the Astros should be able to come through this wild card series, make it to the ALDS, even though we have this cute little fun story here with the Tigers.
Yes, Caden, and the thing about the Astros is they've been there, done that, right?
Yes.
They've had the experience in the playoffs. Of course, we know how deep that roster goes within playoff experience with that team. And I think with Detroit just making it back, like you said, mentioned that last little bit of run, I think they have momentum. I think they could make it close. I do ultimately think the Astros will come away with the opening series win.
Actually, earlier, I want to mention something I heard Jeff Passan say, because he was talking to ESPN in between the Braves-Mets games earlier today as we're recording this. He's like, yes, the Tigers have been on this crazy run. They've been the hottest team since August. But the Astros, they've been the best team the last 3 months of the season. July, August, September, the Astros have been the best team. Yeah, they still have Jordan. They still have Altuve, Bregman. Like, their lineup full of playoff experience and just absolute mashers. Like, it should be a fun series. Tomorrow should be the Tigers. If they want a chance, they have to win tomorrow with Skubal on the mound.
Definitely, Caden. Definitely going to need their best player to show up big for them. But take us into the next matchup.
The next matchup we got coming up will be at 2 o'clock our time, Mountain Time. You got the Kansas City Royals making it back to the playoffs for the first time since they won the World Series in 2015. With, Bobby Witt Jr., who, if it wasn't for Aaron Judge, would be easy MVP. He's having one of the best, if not the best, offensive seasons by a shortstop ever.
Yes, Caden.
And so, but they're taking on the Baltimore Orioles, who have looked like, you saw last year especially, they finally came into form and looked really good until they met up with the Rangers in the playoffs. This year, they look great. You have Gunnar Henderson, who hit 37 home runs as a 22-year-old shortstop. You have Anthony Santander, who hit 43 bombs in right field. You have Adley Rutschman. Like, this Orioles team is really good. The Royals, they have the pitching. Like, you'll see Reagan's today. You'll have Reagan's today, then you'll have Lugo, and if you can make it to a Game 3, you'll have Michael Wacha. That's a really good 1, 2, 3. Their pitching has been, especially what's carried them throughout this entire season.
So what you're telling me is you like the under in that matchup for the over 100 runs?
Especially tomorrow. Especially tomorrow when you have Cole Reagans against Corbin Burns, who are one of the top pitchers in the game. And, the Orioles lineup's good. The Royals, you got Bobby Witt, and the rest of them are wishy-washy. So, especially tomorrow, I like that under. I know it's low at 6.5 runs, but, it's playoff baseball where pitching is at a premium, or where runs are at a premium. Yeah. And, the under is probably a really good play tomorrow in that matchup. But even with the way the Royals, they're like the Tigers. It's a cool story. They did really well this year. Not a lot of people thought they'd make it to the playoffs, but I think the Orioles are a better team.
And it's been a long time since they've been there.
The Orioles are one of my favorites to win the World Series in my eyes this year.
Yes, Caden, you've mentioned that, how high you've been on that team. Take us into our next match.
This next match, now we're getting into the NL. So, as you saw, as you're watching this yesterday, the Braves and the Mets played a doubleheader. They split, so both teams ended up making it as the wild cards. So, the series is now, we have the Mets and the Brewers. The Brewers who, even without Christian Yelich, who looked like he had been returning to form this year, still put up a 90-plus win season. We're able to win the Central with ease.
A very solid performance.
Very solid
all things
performance.
considered.
Willie Adames has looked like what we thought Willie Adames, like after his down year last year, he looked back more like 2022 Willie Adames. He looked really good. The Brewers pitching, I like you have Freddie Peralta, who a lot of people thought were like a favorite to win the Cy Young this year in the NL. He had a down year, but the Mets, you have Lindor and maybe Pete Alonso. Like, their lineup's not that great. They haven't been that great. Edwin Diaz, especially, who's supposed to be their all-star level closer, has looked really bad this year. He even got pulled from the closer roller there. The Mets, like, good run by them, like, towards the end of the year to make the playoffs.
No faith in the Mets.
I don't have faith in the Mets. I mean,
The Mets.
it's the Mets, and the Brewers are good. I don't see the Brewers being able to make it really a deep run. I think they get bounced in the DS.
Yes.
But I don't really see them losing to the Mets.
I like it, Caden. I like it. Take us into the following matchups.
Yeah, the final wild card matchup we have here should probably be one of the best that we get to see.
Most anticipated matchup for sure.
You get the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. The Padres, who people thought it last year were going to be like a World Series contending favorite team with Juan Soto, and then choked the team. But then this year, you trade for Dylan Cease in spring training. You get him, and their rotation is really good. You have Cease, you have Yu Darvish, who's this past month and a half has been looking like Cubs, Rangers, early. Like, he's turned the clock back a lot. And then you have Musgrove, who I know he hasn't been great this year, but we've seen him in the playoffs before.
I was going to say, with the veteran experience in the big moments.
Exactly. And even without Soto in the lineup from last year, you still have possible Rookie of the Year Jackson Merrill. I mean, he shouldn't win in my eyes. I think it's easily Skeens, but Merrill, who's going to be a top 2 in Rookie of the Year. You still have Machado, Cronenworth. Like, they're a really well-rounded team. Like, I don't know if this would be I don't know if I'd call it a prediction. What I'd love to see in the World Series, give me a Padres-Orioles World Series. I think that would be so much fun to watch. Two young, star-studded teams going at each other. I think that would be. I still think the Dodgers are probably the favorite in the NL with how good their team is.
And Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, and Shohei, Freddie and Mookie. You could go on and on.
We hate the Dodgers.
But yeah, so I like I love the Braves. Like, I think the Braves are good, but they're dealing with a lot of injuries. No Austin Riley. You got Ozzy Albies back. Could look good today, but he's not switch hitting right now. He's only hitting righty. No, obviously, no Acuna, no Strider. It's going to be an uphill battle for them, especially with all three games. Like, in the wild card run, they're all going to be played in San Diego.
Even though the odds are against them, Caden, I think the Braves have a sneaky chance to possibly pull an upset here.
I do. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I like the Braves a lot. It's just, it'll come down to their pitching. Exactly. Their offense, I know it's been down this year, but I like that lineup.
It's got potential.
Oh, they got a lot of potential, especially to explode for some runs with Ozuna still there.
Yes.
Having another great year.
100%.
Kelnick hasn't looked back. Michael Harrison's coming back from the IL has been really good. That should, in my eyes, probably be the best wild card series we get, unless if the Tigers can win this game 1 with Screwball Mountain, I could see that being a good series. It's one of those two I think are going to be the best series that we see for this wild card week.
For sure, Caden. Plenty of action, exciting for another great October and some great baseball play, Kate. Any other final thoughts, comments, or questions or concerns?
No, I don't think so. All I know is, we'll get back to you once we get into the ALDS and so on. We'll keep you guys updated, giving our thoughts and everything. Be
sure to stay tuned, especially if you're into the baseball content. We're going to keep the baseball episodes pretty separate, so for you guys who are baseball fans specifically, can tune in and get all that content exclusively. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to follow our socials, and we'll see you all next time.